Hey, it's Arrow, and this is Vocal Defrag. Vocal defragging is giving yourself the opportunity to ask yourself the questions and then question the answers. Too often, we'll ask questions and then we settle for the answer, knowing that it's not really the full answer that we deserve. We would rather piece part our lives together instead of having the full metal jacket. Asking questions and questioning answers. I keep two different types of defrag journals. The journal is physically what I've written out in a book. I've been doing that since November of 2017. And I also vocal defrag. And the reason why I do two, number one, in the journal, I have the written word. I can go in there and I can see what was moving through me in that moment of now. Whereas with vocal defragging, I don't see the word, I hear the word. I hear the emotions that are attached. So I do invite you to do either or do them both, because you're going to learn a lot about yourself if you just take the time to ask the question and question the answers. This is Vocal Defrag. It came to me early this morning because I am such a freak when it comes to locating the definitions of words. I'm a freak because I think so many times we're using the words wrong. We don't know what a particular word means, and sometimes the action or reaction from others who do know the definition of the word is like, well, what did you just say? No, you're using that word wrong. So how do you think I felt a couple weeks ago when my desire to constantly look up the definition of words put me in a place where I got to be with the people at dictionary.com. My God, people want to be with Drake. People want to be with Beyonce. They would, and even Taylor Swift. Man, they would just freak out if they were having a conversation with them. That's how I feel about dictionary.com. This guy who loves looking up words, the definitions, and the spelling, the proper spelling, was with the people at dictionary.com. So I love trying to get the right definition and to get it right. So it hit me today. The definition of blank. That's the seed I want to plant right now. The definition of blank. I thought for a moment, because I wanted to know why that was the first thing I put on the page this morning in my daily writing. The definition of blank. And then another word came. That's what I like about writing, man. It ain't going to come at you all at once. It's going to come at you in pieces parts. And here's the word that went into that blank. The definition of me. Oh, man. Hey, wait. Everybody has their own personal definition of who you are. They live off that definition of who you are. It's their definition, not your definition. So I ask, what is the definition of you? Don't ask them, because they got their own. You need to understand what your definition is, because that's going to help you understand why you are in the place that you are and why things keep moving around in circles as if to be happening over and over again. History does not have to repeat itself. The only reason why it repeats itself is because we allow it to repeat itself, because we don't want to extend our reach beyond where we are comfortable and where we feel security. So I want you to think about that for a moment. What is the definition of you? How do you put yourself in a position of defining yourself? I'll give you a good example. For years, 2 decades, I naturally assumed that my definition was, I'm a radio guy. I'm a broadcaster. But if you go back and listen to all of my air checks and presentations, you don't hear the radio guy. What you hear is a storyteller, somebody who was hell-bent on making sure that listeners got more than just, hey, here's another 4 in a row without talk. By the way, if you're driving down I-77 right now, blah, 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 blah. That wasn't me. I wanted to share the story. I wanted to put something into that presentation that someone could hold on to longer than the 15 seconds it took me to talk over that song intro. And then it occurred to me, you're a writer. You're somebody who writes books. You've authored many things. Is it possible that being on the radio is nothing more than a stage for the writer? Is it possible that when you podcast, I notice all the words, they're written down? Even the thoughts on this particular podcast, Vocal Defrag, they were thought out and written out long before we jumped into this forest on this beautiful fall day in Carolina. It was written out. So when you think like that, when you do things in your everyday life, are you defining yourself the way that you really are? Is it a self that you can look at in the mirror and say, this is my definition. I choose to accept it or not to accept it. And I am so guilty of that situation when I don't accept the definition of me. Because then I want to rewrite it, just like our history, our past, those moments in our life where we were doing things that didn't go right, and we came up with a good explanation so we wouldn't be judged by others. What is the definition of you? Because other people have already got their definition of you by the actions and reactions of your present place and or past that you have lived. When you give somebody a plan and purpose to build their own definition of you, then you got to live it, because they've already made up their mind, and they're going to say that you're set in your way and that they don't need you because of this reason. Give you a good example. I played a lot of Michael Bolton, Rod Stewart. I played a lot of Hootie and the Blowfish in my days of radio of the 80s and early part of the 1990s. But who was I as an on-air talent, as that performer? I got long hair. I like rock. I like metal. But what the hell was I doing on an adult contemporary radio station other than collecting paychecks? Oh, yeah. Man, you're going to pay me to do this? And that's all I have to do is do that? But it didn't define who I truly was. A classic rocker. Somebody who happens to love that particular sound. And so when I tried to make that crossover from AC radio to classic rock, the guy goes, no, not going to happen, buddy. No, that's not the image that I have of you. Oh, that was his way of saying that his definition of me was not the definition that I know. So how do we work on this? By making it known. By letting people know when they have wronged you. Don't go and wrong them back and have a pissing contest of some sort. Help them understand what your definition is. Let them understand that you have a purpose and a process of growing in a progress that's been taking place long before you probably even met that person. What is the definition of you? When they put me on the essential job and I was there till late at night, that meant I wasn't getting to bed until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning to be in the studio for my podcasting by 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. I was only getting like 5, 6 hours of sleep. So when I went to them and I said, I need to let you understand my definition, they worked with me because they didn't know. They just thought I was somebody that was a big team player and loved to motivate the asses out of those that didn't want to be there. Yeah, it's a little bit more than that. It is. Candy-coated plastic bathroom mirror smiles will get you anywhere you want to go. The problem is, though, is that those smiles, those fake smiles, they will put a definition on you as judged by those around you. So ask the questions. Question the answers. Don't be afraid to have an argument with yourself. I'd rather you do that than do it with somebody who doesn't know your definition. I'm Arrow, and that's Vocal Defrag.